It's time to find out
What Shane
said with Shane Manila.
Hey world, welcome back to Shane Says. We're now on episode 4. It's rookie draft season, or at least it's approaching rookie draft season. The NFL draft is now roughly a month away, depending on when you watch this. Either way, roughly a month away would probably be correct, actually. Just wanted to make one note. You should not be having your rookie drafts prior to the NFL draft. I know we like to think that we are smarter than NFL GMs. Trust me, I get it. We all think it. If we don't say it aloud, we definitely think it. So we think we know more than NFL GMs. We don't. Quite frankly, we don't know where a player is going to fall, whether that be what round they're going to fall in, whether that means to what team. I know, again, we might think we know more than NFL GMs, and we might think that we are pro scouts, and maybe some of us are. I'm not a pro scout, in case you were wondering. I would not let me grind your tape. Like I could not tell you if what makes Rome Odunze special. All I can tell you is that his ADP right now indicates that you're getting him in the middle of the first round. That's neither here nor there. Just back to the point. We don't know where players are going to land, specifically draft capital, which is most important, and then landing spot. Let's just think aloud. If Rome Odunze ends up in Philadelphia with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and you've drafted him prior to the rookie draft, prior to the NFL draft, and you've drafted him at 106, how would you feel about that pick? So again, it's always better to have more information than less information. So I am a strong proponent of having rookie drafts after the NFL draft. Okay. So again, like I said, drafts are coming up, hopefully after the NFL draft. But even if they're not, if you're having your draft now, I thought it'd be interesting to just go back over the last 5 years, get some data, look at some rookie hits, rookie misses. I broke this down a couple different ways: by player, by pick, and by position. So just some caveats before we even start. The ADP was based on DLF's Superflex rookie mock drafts. I know you might not like that, but if JJ Zacharyson uses DLF mock rookie drafts or mock drafts in general, I'd say it's good enough for me. I am no JJ Zacharyson. Scoring is obviously points per game. We're going points per game because that is a truer indicator of how a player performs than gross scoring, which wouldn't take into account players missing time. All the scoring is based, and points per game finish is pulled from playerprofiler.com. One more note: not all rookie draft hits are created the same. A tight end 2 season is by no means as valuable as a running back 2 or a wide receiver 2 season. A tight end 1 season is probably not as significant as a running back 1 or a running back wide receiver 1 season. Again, the scoring's not the same. Tight ends generally score fewer points than running backs and tight ends at the highest level, even at the elitist level, which is top 6. And we'll talk about some top 6 hits here. So in the last 5 years, assuming that you're in a 12-team league, that would account for 60 picks, right? 5 years, 12 picks per round gives you 60 picks over the last 5 years. From a high-end level, I just wanted to look to see how those players are produced. Out of those 60 players, 34 of those players have provided you at least a top 24 season. 34 out of 60. So a little over 50%, 56%, I believe that is. 26 have provided you 2 seasons. And what 2 seasons are wide receiver 2, running back 2, tight end 2, QB 2 seasons. 26 players have done that for a 43% hit rate there. Here's where it gets good, because this is where the players really that make a difference matter. The players that matter is wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, etc. seasons. Wide receiver 1, running back 1, tight end 1 seasons. There have been 25 players, which is 42%. 25 players have provided you at least a top 12 season. That's 42% of the players over the last 5 years drafted in your rookie drafts have provided you either a wide receiver one, wide receiver one, running back one, QB one, or tight end one season. Now, we want to get to the super elite production, the production that really moves the needle, right? These are what we like to call hammers in the industry. That's a actual term if you look it up. These are the players that I would define as a hammer. 15 out of these 60 players have been able to provide you at least one top 6 season, 25%. So you have a 1 in 4 chance of the players you draft in the first round providing you a top 6 season. Not bad, right? 1 in 4. Now, obviously, there's some ranges with these picks, and I'm not going to go through every pick and tell you how every 101 produced, how every 102 produced. I'm just going to give you some high-level stuff. I'm going to see if I can share the database in the description so you can go ahead and just take a look at it, copy it, do what you want. Hit me up. Let me know what your conclusions are. So I thought it'd be fun. Let's look at the 101. Again, there have been 5 players drafted at 101 over the last 5 years. That's pretty hard, right? 5 of those players have given you at least one top 24 season. 3 of those players have produced at a 2 level. Again, that would be QB 2, wide receiver 2, running back 2, tight end 2. 4 players have given you a 1 season. That's 4 out of 5. Look at that. Just make sure you're understanding what I'm saying here. This is 4 out of the 5 players drafted at 101 over the past 5 seasons have provided you a top 12 season. Not bad. 3 of those players, again, this is the needle mover. This is what we're really looking for. 3 of these 5 players have produced at least a top 6 season. It's pretty impressive. Every one of these players has given you at least a top 24 season. Again, impressive. At the high level, we have 4 that provided you wide receiver 1, running back 1, QB 1 seasons, and then 6 that gave us that truly elite number, that hammer number that we're really looking for. 3 seasons of top 6 production, or 3 players that hit top 6 production. Some of the players have actually given you multiple seasons. We'll get into at least one of those players later. It's a particular favorite of mine. Looking at all the other draft slots, there was only one other draft slot that gave you 5 players, all 5 players producing at least a top 24 season, and that was the 104. Interestingly enough, 104 was the only other draft slot that gave you 5 players hitting or producing at least one top 24 season. 3 of those players provided a top 24 season. 3 of those players provided at least a top 2 season. Again, top 2 season being QB 2, running back 2, wide receiver 2, tight end 2. 3 players were either a wide receiver 1, running back 1, tight end 1, QB 1. But just one of those players, 1 in 5, it's 20%. Just one of those players provided you a top 6 season. Again, top 6 seasons are really what we're shooting for. If we get top 12 seasons, we're okay with that. But we really, really want those top 6 seasons. Now, there were 6 draft slots where just 2 of the 5 players drafted provided you at least one top 24 season. That was the 102, the 103, 106, 107, 111, and 112. So what does that tell you? That, if you do some quick math, there are more instances and more draft slots where a player doesn't provide a top 24 season than do. In this case, there are, like I said, 6 draft slots where we're provided just 2 players that hit top 24 seasons. Again, compare that to 101 and 104, where each of the 5 players produced at least one top 24 season. Again, just 2 players did it in these draft slots: 102, 103, 106, 107, 111, 112. So what did that mean? I mean, you had no better odds of a top 24 season drafting a player at 102 than you did at 112. Just think about that for a minute. That kind of puts some things on its head, right? I know we think 102 is almost a can't miss. This is kind of pointing in the direction that it's not actually a can't miss. Obviously, we don't expect every draft pick to hit, but we do expect them to hit at I'd say the 102 to hit at a much higher rate than the 112. Okay, there's only been one draft slot over the last 5 years that didn't provide you at least one top 12 season. That was the 108. 108, I'm disappointed in you. I don't know what is going on there. You have to try harder. You got to get at least one of your people to go ahead and give me a top 12 season. I'm looking at you next year. Maybe it's Brian Thomas Jr., or I should say this year. Maybe it's Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe it's A.D. Mitchell. I don't know. But whoever's going at 108, I'm going to really need you to produce a top 12 season at some point. All right. So that's by draft picks. And, as much as I look at draft slots, I should say, I like those. But the sample size is small on those, right? It's obviously 5 picks. Each sample size is 5 picks. There's 60 picks overall, but there's only been 5 picks made at each of those draft slots over the 5 years. What I thought would be kind of fun and maybe a little more instructive was breaking this down by players. Okay, so again, 15 quarterbacks drafted in the first round over the last 5 years. Out of 60 picks, so that's 1/4. Nope, it's not 1/4. Yep, that's 1/4 of the picks. There you go. 15 plus 15 is 30. That'd be half. Another 15 be 75%. Another 15 be 60. And 100%. There you go. So of that number, 7 have provided at least a top 24 season. 4 have provided you at least a QB2 season. 4 have hit a QB2 season, which is meh. 7 have hit a QB1 season, which is really good. And then super crazy good. We've got 4 quarterbacks that have given you a top 6 season out of those 15 players drafted. But just so you know, only 1 quarterback has given you multiple top 6 seasons during that time, that was drafted during that time, I should say. Kyler Murray. You do with that what you want to. Now, I know he is the oldest, at least drafted wise. He's got 5 years in this data set, and not everyone does. But yeah, no one but Kyler Murray has actually hit more than a top 6 season. Just him more than once, I should say. Not Joseph Burrow, not Trey Lawrence, and I guess surprisingly, not Justin Fields, right? I guess maybe not surprisingly. But either way, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the one and only. Interesting. We've had 24 wide receivers drafted during these 5 years. I got to be honest with you. Wide receivers, pretty disappointing to me. I'm going to be honest, super disappointing to me. And we'll get to some data later. But there's been 9 players that have given you a top 24 season. Of those players, 7 players have given you wide receiver 2 season. Just 6 have given you wide receiver 1 seasons. And only 4 of 24 of those players have given you at least 1 top 6 season. There were CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown. They each gave you 1 top 6 season. And then you really get into the creme de la creme. I mean, Justin Jefferson, 3 top 6 seasons out of 4 seasons. So 3 out of 4 seasons, he finished wide receiver 6 or better. Crazy. In the 1 year that he didn't, he was the wide receiver 9. Justin Jefferson's never been anything worse than wide receiver 9. That's bananas. Next dude up, Jamar Chase. 2 top 6 seasons out of 3 seasons played. His other season, wide receiver 11. So there you go. Jamar Chase never been worse than a wide receiver 11. Super impressive. Not as impressive when you look at Justin Jefferson, which is just bananas. All right. RBs. There's been 17 of those drafted. 88% of those players have given you at least a top 24 season. 15 of those 17 players have given you at least a top 24 season. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's easier to be a running back 2 or running back 1 than it is a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Put a pin in that. We'll talk about that later. All right. So there's been 12 players that provided you a running back 2 season, 9 players that gave you a running back 1 season. And again, I know what you're thinking. It's easier to be a running back 1 than it is wide receiver 1. This is what we call, what's the word? Teasing. That's what we're doing. We're teasing here. There's going to be something about that later. Just so you're aware, running backs hit at the highest rate for 1 seasons than any other position, excluding tight ends, but tight ends don't really count. So of the 17 running backs drafted over the last 5 years in the first round, 53% of them have given you a running back one season. Not bad. 6 players have given you an elite season, a top 6 season. And by far, by position, that's the highest rate. 35.2% of all running backs drafted in the first round in the last 5 years have given you a top 6 season. And then we get to the tight ends. And tight ends are weird. I mean, I don't tell you. Obviously, there's many fewer, lesser. I don't know what the word is here. There's less tight ends drafted in the first round over that time. There's been 4 of them. TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant, Dalton Kincaid, and someone I'm forgetting, TJ Hawkinson. Did I say TJ Hawkinson? TJ Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts, Noah Fant, Dalton Kincaid. Interestingly, every one of those tight ends just so happened to be a first-round NFL pick, but we'll get back to that too. I keep getting back to things. Anyway, so 3 of those 4 tight ends have given you a top 24 season. Meh, whatever. Again, it's tight end. 3 of them had tight end 2 seasons. Again, not very exciting. It's tight end 2. 3 of them had tight end 1 seasons, though. I bet you didn't know that. But let's keep in mind that if you scored generally 10 points a game in a season, you're tight end 1. So maybe it's not that impressive. And then there's been 1 player, just 1, who's given you a top 6 season. And that's TJ Hawkinson, who I feel like the Shaq meme, I said meme, Shaq meme that goes, I apologize. I didn't know your game. I think that's it. Probably. I don't know. One of the youngs can correct me. Either way, TJ Hawkinson, absolute beast. My dude has given you 2 top 6 seasons. The 2 times that he did not provide a top 6 season, he was the tight end 7. So my dude has been tight end 7 or better 4 seasons. That is impressive. TJ Hawkinson, I hope you get well really soon. Really hate that you're not here. I think I might actually go out and try to acquire me some TJ Hawkinson. We know tight ends generally can play into older age. That is a word. Tight ends, elite tight ends can play for a while. My dude's only 26. I know he's going to miss some time, but my dude has been in prerequisite in subsequent. No, in the past 5 seasons, my dude has been tight end 2, tight end 4, tight end 7, tight end 7, and tight end 24 as a rookie. I would say that dude is an absolute hit. If you drafted TJ Hawkinson, congrats to you. I hope you didn't move him. All right, so that's the data, right? So I know I said a lot of stuff, so I just want to give you some notes, some little takeaways to take from this. Notes, takeaways. Like I said, running backs, they provided the highest hit rate of top 6 seasons, top players to hit a top 6 season, players to hit a top 12 season, players to hit a top 2 season, and a top 24 season. 88% of them gave you at least a top 24 season. There were, again, 72% of them provided you at least an RB2 season. Not bad. 53% of them gave you an RB1 season. And then 35% of them gave you a top 6 season. Super, super duper elite. I don't know what else to say to that. When we're looking at the super high end production, top 6 seasons, I just wanted to break this down by player position. So again, of the positions, running backs had a 35%. 35% of the players gave you a top 6 season. That was the most. There have been 27% of the quarterbacks that were drafted gave you a top 6 season. Tight end, 25% have given you a top 6 season, and it's actually 20% because that's how you do math. Actually, 20% because there's been 1 of 5. Small sample size, so take that all in consideration. Tight ends, there was only 1 of 5, but 20% hit a top 6 season, or we could just say TJ Hawkinson. Again, quarterbacks, 27% of the players drafted, and running backs, 35%. Wide receiver, way down at 17%. That shocked me. Not going to lie to you. I expect that wide receivers drafted in the first round over the last 5 years to have provided more elite seasons. Very interesting. But, maybe they can jump in later, right? Maybe they got more top 12 seasons. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So top 12 seasons. Tight ends. Tight end 1. 75% of the players drafted, 75% of the tight ends drafted over the last 5 years have given you a tight end 1 season. Again, that's not as impressive when you have to score, 10 points a game to hit that range. So let's not be too impressed. Not too impressed. But I will say this. If a tight end is drafted in the first round of rookie drafts, it's generally because they are a very good prospect and they have really good draft capital. Speaking of that, over the last 5 years, we had players like Dalton Kincaid, who went 25th overall, Noah Fant, who went 20th overall, Hawkinson, who went 8th overall, and then we have Kyle Pitts, one of the most divisive players out there, drafted at 4th overall. And I'll just correct something I said earlier. Tight ends they did provide a 25% hit rate at top 6. 25% of the players drafted over the last 5 years at tight end have given you a top 6 season. But again, that's still just one. It's still just TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson's the elite one. But going back to the top 12 seasons anyway. So 3 of the 4 have given you at least a tight end 1 season. And Dalton Kincaid was just outside of that. But again, think about this. Noah Fant has given you tight end 1 seasons, multiple ones at that. How do you feel about Noah Fant? So that position is what it is. They do hit at a higher rate, but it's relative. 53% of the running backs drafted over the last 5 years have given you at least a top 12 season. Quarterbacks, 27% of the quarterbacks drafted over the last 5 years have given you a QB1 season. And dude, again, wide receivers and last. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely befuddled. I am dumbfounded. Only a quarter, which is 25%, of the wide receivers drafted in the last 5 years in the first round of rookie drafts have given you a top 12 season. That's crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy to me. I just noted again, wide receivers are a disappointment. Just 6 of the 24, a quarter, have given you a top 12 season, while 52% of running backs have done so over the same period. It's just bananas. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, right? It's harder to be a wide receiver 1 than it is a running back 1. And I thought the same thing. So I reached out to Jordan Backus. He's our data monster, our data genius over at Destination Devy. If you haven't already signed up, make sure you're signed up for Destination Devy, Patreon, all gas, I think. I don't know. But they're on the site. You can click on something and make sure you sign up and join the, I believe it's the D5 tier. Yeah, you get all the good stuff in the Dynasty Trades in 5 Discord, Heisman Discord, voice chats, all types of good stuff. Go sign up. Anywho, I hit Jordan up, said, hey, can you give me some data? Because instinctively, I thought that it's harder to be a wide receiver 1 than it is to be a it's harder to be a wide receiver 1 than it is to be a running back 1, right? Nah, not really. Yeah, not really. Not at all. So over that time, wide receivers in the top 12 over the last 5 years have averaged 18.3 points per game. That's 1 through 12 over the last 5 years, 18.3 points per game. Compared to running backs during that same period, to be a running back 1, you needed to average 18.09 fantasy points per game. That is not a significant difference. I am not the greatest at math, but I will say that is less than a full point PPR, right? Yeah, if some calculator could come up and show that, I believe that is correct. Again, wide receivers, to be a wide receiver 1 over the last 5 years, you needed to average 18.3 points per game. To be a top 12 running back, 18.09 points per game. But you know what? Maybe it's different. Maybe at the high level, that's where the difference is, right? Maybe wide receiver 1s, etc., are just mashing running back 1s. Wide receiver 2s are mashing running back 2s. Wide receiver 3s just mashing their counterparts at running back 3, etc. Right? No. So the scoring difference between running back 3 through running back 5 compared to running back. The scoring difference between running back 3 through running back 5 compared to wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 5 is the only time that there's a scoring difference of a half point or more between the two. That sounded confusing. I'll say it again. If I'm a wide receiver 3 and I'm a running back 3, the difference in the scoring was 0.8 points per game. That's less than a full point, by the way. Wide receiver 4 versus running back 4, it was 0.7. Again, below 1 full point per game. And then wide receiver 5 over wide receiver 5, running back 5, the difference was a half point. Yeah. I mean, and that's the only instance. That is the only instance. Those are the only 3 instances out of 12 that there's a difference of more than half a point between let's say, a running back and their counterpart, their running back 5 versus a wide receiver 5. And just so we're clear, the running back 1 and the running back 2 actually outscore their counterparts, the wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 2, by 0.6 and 0.10 fantasy points per game. It's little, but it happened. And yeah, this fluctuates some years, but this is just an average over the last 5 years. I have some real questions here. I don't know how or what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to ruminate on this for a little bit, but this is making me think we might overvalue wide receivers in rookie drafts. Maybe the smart move is buying wide receivers when we know what they are, not when we think we know what they are. Obviously, if it's a Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison, Justin Jefferson type prospect, maybe we go with that. We know they're going to be elite, right? I think we absolutely know they're going to be elite. But what we don't know is someone like JSN, Treylon Burks, are they going to be elite? Rashad Bateman. I don't even remember if Rashad Bateman is in this data sample, to be honest with you. But you get the point. It's just wide receivers over the last 5 years. We've got Drake London, N'Keal Harry, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, DK Metcalf, Jerry Jeudy, Quentin Johnston, A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, and then here's comes some bad names. Sky Moore, Paris Campbell, McCole Hardman, Jalen Reagor. Maybe we don't know what these non-elite wide receivers are going to be. Maybe we shouldn't be drafting them in rookie drafts. Maybe we would be better served either drafting running backs, because running backs with first round rookie ADP over the last 5 years have outproduced their counterparts at the wide receiver position. Not only that, I think maybe we should be using these rookie picks if you don't want to use them on running backs. I get that, because some of us don't like running backs because, their careers aren't as long as wide receivers. Their trade value isn't as good as wide receivers. You know what? Maybe we use these rookie picks for known entities, known quantities, known assets. Maybe it would make sense to start trading year 107 for DK Metcalf, year 107 for Jalen Waddle, year 108 for Jalen Waddle, year 106 for Jalen Waddle. I love Neighbors. I love Marvin Harrison. But then it starts getting sketch. Roma Dunze, I think, is a very good profile. People like him. So if you want to put him in that list, cool. But Brian Thomas Jr., A.D. Mitchell, wide receivers like that in that range. Xavier Worthy, first round guys, but not as strong as a prospect, not as strong as a prospect profile, however you want to say it. Maybe we should be moving those picks that we would use on them for established wide receivers. Or like I said, maybe, just maybe, I know this hurts to hear it because it hurts to say it. Trust me, I don't like saying this. Maybe we should be drafting running backs. I don't even know if I just said that out loud, but that just hurt me inside. So I got to end it on that. Like I said, hit me up. I can share the data with you. I'd love to get other people's thoughts on this. I've just started digging into the data, so maybe my thoughts will change, but I think I have some pretty broad strokes that I agree with, or at least that I think. But feel free to hit me up. I'd love to know what other people think. And again, I'll share the data with you. So y'all take care.